Hi guys, for those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Catherine and I tell true stories. Today I'm going to tell you about the most feared country in the Gulf. You know, the Gulf has a lot of diversity. We have so many nationalities here, and we have some that are notorious for some things. All the nationalities are known for something special, and they're either feared or liked. And let's go straight to the countries and the reason and a little bit of stories of why they are the most feared in the Gulf. Number one, Nigeria. Nigeria, I think, is a very big is a very big country in Africa, and this is a disclaimer. Just because the country is feared in the Gulf doesn't mean that all the people from that country have the same kind of character, but majority, and that makes it the most feared and visas avoided for these countries most of the time, or people are warned against associating with them. Now, the Nigerians are mostly feared because of their aggressive personality. They are go-getters, and most of the time here, people want people who are so soft to work for them. They want to control them. But you cannot control a Nigerian. First of all, they will demand for very high salaries, thus making the employers try to avoid them as much as possible. They prefer countries that will not fight for a lot of salaries or anything like that. Because life in Nigeria is very expensive, so you just don't give them any sort of salary. They are very loudmouthed, even amongst themselves. I can say they're a no nonsense people. You don't joke around with them. Now, for example, there was this new lady who had just arrived at a workplace, and she went to a department where her fellow Nigerian was the supervisor. You know, most people feared this Nigerian supervisor because she was so loud. You don't tell her anything, you don't question her. She was kind of a dictator. I tell you this, you have to do it. And so nobody will say anything. She'll tell them stupid things, dictate, order them to work around, else she'll do nothing. And then she made her match. This was day one of this new Nigerian in this department. So now there were two Nigerian. And she was to work under this other one who was already the supervisor. Now, this new one has just received her uniform and it's her day one in the department. Then, as usual, the supervisor starts to talk about things that she doesn't complete, like for example, there's a group being formed here by people, and I don't like groups being formed around things like that, but she's not mentioning the people in that group. So she used to piss people off with such statements of people are forming groups, but she's not mentioning these groups. So people wonder, what is she talking about? If you don't mention the people in the group, how are you going to solve the situation? So what happened is this girl is new, she's just arrived, and then she asked her, can you please mention the names of these people in the group? You just don't go saying there are groups being formed if you're not mentioning the names of the people in the group. Everybody was so shocked. This one has just arrived day one, and she has the guts to talk like this to the supervisor. You see, the supervisor was so shocked because she knew very well there was no group that was being formed, but she was just, what do you call this disease that you have, imagination? Yeah, she was suffering from such a thing, insecurity. So she used to mention such things so that in case they're there, people will be scared and stop them. But in reality, it was just her imagination. So she just shut up. And this new Nigerian asked her, I asked you a question. Who are the people in this group? Everybody was so in love with this new person in the team because their supervisor had made their match. and they became the best enemies because they're same character, same same aggressive uh, personality. You just don't tell them nonsense and they listen. Then come another one. These people really fight, they fight as in violence. It's known that one of them even chopped off the head of a policeman. True, chopped off the head of a policeman. A policeman came to raid their house because alcoholic parties are not allowed with loud noises in some neighborhood, and here they were having their party and they were drunk. So the police came to rob the place, and the guys chopped off the head of the policeman and took off. But of course, it was in their drunken state, and of course they were arrested because you cannot go far in some in the Gulf countries. You'll be traced very fast. And then another one was they are well known for exporting, importing drugs. You must be crazy to import drugs in a country that is you can be hanged for it. I mean, very illegal. It's not even your country, but you have the guts to find a way you're bringing drugs in such a strict area, as in they cover it with rosemary leaves and put in the music system that the sniff dogs cannot even detect. But so the insiders have to be used before they're checked. These people, you can only catch them with the use of insiders. So these are the Nigerians for you. Plus, pushing off, treat their girlfriends very well. But if their girlfriends misbehave, one is known to have pushed one from the seventh floor to the ground. You know what happened after that. But it seems like the women are more aggressive because when they're shouting at each other, you cannot come in between. You will be thrown apart. The second most feared tribe in the Gulf are the Kenyans. But these are not so wild. These ones actually I can say politely feared because they're known for having races with the police. They're known for running away from their workplaces and escaping. When they see the police, they run. They're known for buying other people's ID, borrowing people's ID. So if you're a Kenyan and you're walking around, most likely you'll be stopped by a policeman because they're notorious for borrowing people's IDs and using them for their own good, because maybe they've overstayed, they were hired as a house help, and then they ran away from their employer, and as the house help, your ID will be kept with the police. So then they borrow after escaping. They hire, not just borrow. Whoever is giving them the ID has to be paid. Things like that. So people here are also renting out their IDs to different people for money. It should just be unfortunate if the guy doesn't return it. So those are the Kenyans for you. And then another feared tribe, a country, is the Egyptians. They're very notorious for, robberies, things like that, violence also, but in their own style, you know, not so obvious, because they're also Arabic, so they can easily blend in without being caught. But as an African, you will stand out, very easy to be caught. Then we have another country that is feared, but out of stupidity, very petty nonsense, the Filipinos. Those ones are feared because of their habit of gossip and backstabbing, things like that. Dangerous kind of gossip and backstabbing. Yeah, they have very strong bonds with their own nationalities, but still they will backbite each other, backstab each other. And worse still, if you're not in their nationality, you will be backstabbed even worse and maybe even be expelled from your work. I mean, they're toxic in summary. And as a disclaimer, not all countries are not all nationalities in these countries are like this, but they are notorious for this kind of things. So if you like my content, like, share, and subscribe. Ciao.